Hey, it's Mark here with your video thought for the day. This week I'm doing questions from the Psalms. Now, I love the Psalms. One of the reasons I love the Psalms is because they are expressions of everyday life. When we look at the Psalms and read the Psalms, some people don't, it doesn't register, it doesn't sink in well with them. But for me, they're a treasure house of people trying to make sense of life in light of faith and understanding God. And that's pretty much an everyday process for me. That's what I'm trying to do every day. I'm trying to make sense of life in terms of and through the lens of my faith in God. And so I love to look at the questions because I find questions to be thought provoking for me. And I tend to think about things well when I have the questions. So today's question comes from Psalm 27, and it's in the very first verse. It sets up this dynamic and inspiring psalm. The psalmist asks this question. And again, like yesterday, so many of these have the same question asked twice because it's a parallel structure that it's the same question. They just poetically would ask it twice. So here it is. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? That's question one. Question two. The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Think about that for a minute. Those are great questions. The Lord is my light. In other words, God is the one who gives me insight, understanding, and vision into the world. God is a constant light. God's a light that never goes out. God is my light and he's my salvation. He's not just a light like a switch on the wall, but he's interested in me individually. He comes to save me. That's why he says he's the stronghold. He's the protection for my life. So whom should I fear? Who is stronger than God? Who's able to put out the light that is God? So Psychology Today did an article one time on fear and why people fear things and what people fear and why fear is an important aspect of being human. And they had this statistic. They said at least 60% of adults admit to having at least one unreasonable fear. At least 60% admit to having at least one unreasonable fear. Now, I find that interesting in light of the Psalms, because to those who follow God, who put their trust and faith in God as their stronghold, they rightly can say, any fear I have, we could call unreasonable. Now, that doesn't mean that the follower of God doesn't have difficulties in life. It means that God will be there to sustain them through those difficulties. It doesn't mean the follower of God doesn't have times that are painful and hurtful and difficult, but it means that God is there with them. It means we can be in the lion's den and not fear the lions because God's going to be there with us. Whom shall I fear? I've got God looking out for me. That's a game changer. It's also your video thought for the day.